Well, growing up in Houston was I kind of came up through rental houses. I went from interning at one rental house to working at one. When I got to LA, I was working at one.
How
And
was that? What share
oh
us with you one of your
my golly,
experiences on
I
working
can't
for
wait to hear what.
For those of you who worked at rental houses, they're fun, educational, but Kevin.
it's a great paradise. So particularly, I was working at a rental house. You have to understand. I want to paint a picture about the town I came from, Houston, Texas. So I worked at the one like brick and mortar, as they say, rental house where it was a company. It was individuals. It was 5 of us supplying all the gear to the entire city of Houston's productions.
Jesus.
Yeah, there would
5
be
people?
yeah, and there would be 2 guys that's dedicated to camera, myself and a 65-year-old fella who had 3 major tears in his rotator cuff in his shoulder, so he could never lift anything heavier.
Oh my god.
That's what you guys were there for.
Yeah, right.
For
That's
you
what
young-
One
our
guy.
young
Yeah.
stud,
One guy,
right?
for you young people working at rental houses, if you just have muscles or you take sexy Instagram pictures of your muscles, send them to rental houses, you get a job like this.
Oh my God.
Do you have any experiences at the rental house where you were using gear for your own personal projects? I know that's kind of like a deal. Sometimes it's like, hey, if I work for you, can I use your gear? Kind of like a
Right.
verbatim, like
Like an employee discount.
point discount
Yeah,
or
sure.
or your
Kind of.
own interpretation of the
Yeah.
discount.
Yeah.
5-finger discount.
Yeah. I used
Oh
to-
god, Jonathan, of course you would say that.
Hey, you're working at a pizza place, you get like a pepperoni. Come on, that's
Yeah,
that's,
come on.
that's stealing. Come on. Well, it's funny you bring that up. So I was working at this one rental house for 2.5 years, and about a year in, I understood I was dealing with these individuals. I was never going to get along. We had a giant blow up fight, literally name calling, like just the whole cussing and swearing.
Typical stuff.
You know what I'm saying? And I come into his office, and we both just like basically grown men cry to each other, please don't leave. And I didn't have any other work lined up. So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm just kind of stuck here. So all this kind of permeating, I had a friend of mine hand me a script for a project about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it was, the crew featured all these people I remember from community college, all these really great friends of mine were going to become the key people. And we were going to shoot in Katy, Texas. We were going to make a feature film. It was all free.
that's cool.
We didn't have like the rate to really pay for anything. And after like so many interactions with that rental house, my little way of just quietly putting up with working there was on the weekend pulling gear out of the rental house and using it on set for my personal projects. Never for a raid. This wasn't something I was like, in part of my soul was like, no, I don't want to get paid for doing this, because then it's like, it's a little sketchy, when money starts getting involved. But if I was doing it for free, then I'm just being your rental house's, folk hero, Robin Hood,
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm fighting the man.
And
you
they
know?
will. Yep.
Yeah,
they
no
will.
one's gonna call me that word and get away with that. You hear that, guy?
That lasts for a while, and then since you
Yeah.
start kicking in, you're like, never mind that anymore.
Yeah.
So do you know what it all
I can
was?
make money off this.
Oh God.
I make money. I could have been doing this. Yes, people, do not do anything for free. That is your time and wellness. at
Yeah.
Yeah.
stake.
It's a lot of things. Well, it's also your reputation.
Yeah.
I've learned
Yeah.
as well.
Touche.
For sure.
I guess it's individual.
From there though, I'll tell you where I screwed up. The next week, I was doing the same thing, of course, dumbass me. Went to return the equipment a Sunday afternoon. He had changed my alarm code on the
On the
security
door.
on the door.
Wow.
So I could get in. No, you didn't change the key. So I could get in,
Mm-hmm.
but not deactivate the alarm. So the police just came in. It's like, oh, he's got all this stuff in his car.
shit.
And
Oh, you had it in your car.
yeah, I was
Oh, okay,
returning
yeah.
equipment. So I had all the stuff in my car and no explanation of like why I didn't have an alarm code.
Oh.
Yeah, so
You got to come with alibis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
so my little Robin Hood story ended real fast when Johnny Law caught up to me, but I did learn a very precious lesson about following the rules and just you're going to get way further in life, just playing it cool.
Yeah,
Or
I do agree about breaking the rules, but not when it comes to that. I think of more artistic stuff to breaking the rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to be careful. But you had good intentions. You weren't gonna like trash them,
Yeah,
or like sell them. Do you know what I mean? Which other people probably have done in the past, stole something and then
That
sold
happens.
it.
That happens on
Yeah.
sets.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
like bigger
yeah.
sets. People steal gear all the time, and you know what I mean. Like some features, like the end of the feature, you're shooting in the desert. You know what I mean?
I've
Like
taken-
stuff could have been lost, and like they could have been
Yeah.
lost. Like
Yeah.
I was on one shoot. Oh my god! And I was like, all right, we're in the desert. We're doing stuff. And I'm like, all right, we're almost wrapping. And then I see the key grip. He's like, has all this stuff in his hands, running to his trailer. He's like, Charles, grab that stuff off the lift gate. Let's
What?
go. And I'm like, what is going on here? I played dumb.
Yeah. They
Get
don't
out!
pay
Wait,
us.
what was he taking? What was he
No,
taking?
it was just like Expendables. Like usually Expendables
Oh,
already paid
got
for
it,
and all
got it,
that.
got it,
But
yeah.
usually we go through it and
Still though, they would know,
I
right?
got a
Like
great
if it's a
story.
real production.
yeah, it happens. But it was just funny to see like an old man like waddle with all these gels just falling out of his hands. And
Shit.
I'm like, what is this fool doing?
You know what? I've stolen before you go, Kevin.
Go, please.
I've stolen crafties.
That's
That-
a must.
Look at
That's only
look at
stealing
my
from-
innocent.
That's only stealing
that's
from the
overtime.
crafty
Anytime.
person,
Right.
because all that crafty is going to go back to their apartment.
Yeah.
True.
That's why I love having crafty
yeah.
friends.
Plus,
Yeah.
it's paid for already. It's not like it's food. I was gonna eat
Yeah.
it there. I'm just gonna eat it at home instead. Do you know what I mean? Come on, we've all
Yeah.
done it before. Come on,
If you
like a
ever,
bag
yeah.
of chips or something.
if you
You know
ever
I'm
get
telling
fired
you.
from a job though, anyone, if you ever get fired from a job, just take crafties. Like
Yeah.
get your
Oh my
bag.
God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like okay,
Take
like
care of
it's like
yourself.
never get
Yeah.
fired, but if it happens, just take all the crafties. Like you're not gonna see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Fire you a second time?
Yeah, you got fired me twice.
Yeah.
And what happens was weird because it started with 4 individuals. Homeless, like these 4 individuals, these folks just kind of turned the corner
Oh,
and
shit.
started heading towards my corner.
They were walking or in a car. or something.
Walking,
Okay,
just
yeah.
walking the sidewalk,
Yeah.
which 4 was like whatever. Then it was more. Then more people.
Like a
Yeah.
pack.
No, seriously. And then it was at the end, maybe 100 homeless people
Oh,
had
oh,
all
wow.
wandered into the corner where we had parked the grip truck
Oh,
and where I had
shit.
all my carts filled with equipment.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Right.
Jeez.
And I'm
Oh
the
my
lone electric.
production.
I'm the only production guy there. I'm so freaking new. I didn't know my radio etiquette. I should have
Oh,
I should have been
shit.
yelling. I really
Yeah.
should have been. But I'm just like, hey, can anyone hear me? Can I get any help?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No response. I can't
What?
hear anyone. I don't know what's going
oh my
on.
god.
And so next thing I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of like observing from the top of a lift gate, which is a
You
weird
see like
scene.
a Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
like
yeah, they got,
battle coming.
No, so
World War
it's-
Z.
they all just occupied the space. They just all started filling in the space, and I'm up on the lift gate, just kind of looking down, making sure like nothing major gets taken. And I started seeing this kid like scurrying around where like the compartments with all the lights. I'm
Oh
just like,
shit.
get your hands out of there, man!
Oh
what are you
my
doing?
God.
I do want to add this one last element because I'll never forget the imagery. Is my gaffer came out, but then did not join me at the truck. He just
He just
Yeah.
saw what was going
Yeah,
on.
he hung, there was like a bus stop that was like right over the bend, and then he was just on the phone looking over at
Oh,
me.
He wasn't
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah, I don't. And so the homeless people started like getting their food, and they kind of went to their corner, and things were civil. There was never like a really big issue, except for the shock. But then this one guy. We have traffic cones lined up, so any car that's trying to come into park or leaving has the curvature to not hit a driver or a crew
Yeah,
member on the
yeah.
side of the truck when they're working. That's why we lay out those cones.
Yeah. Safety
Uh,
first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This guy started picking them up. He picked up 1 cone, 2 cones, 3 cones. He picked up the 4 traffic cones and then started walking down the street
What?
with the traffic cones.
Wait, he stole the traffic
He stole the
cones?
traffic
No,
cones.
that's
man.
a thing.
Yeah.
What?
That's the thing.
What's
Homeless
he gonna
people.
do? Sell it to the city?
Why? Yeah, what
No,
cars were
there
there
were
people
no,
in
there were
them?
people driving, and
Okay.
they would stop at the
Yeah, yeah, they would
stoplight,
pay. Yeah,
and
yeah.
they would stop. And then this one guy, he was like, had his head turned. He looks over to him, and he's like, knocking on his like, hey, stop. The guy just kept. But later
Well,
on,
why would they steal the cones? I'm so
well,
confused.
this guy, he did the same. He started to do that. He started hanging out with us, and because I was like, all right, he's not doing any harm. And he's picked up the cones from our. We had 2 trucks. We had the grip truck and the production truck. He picked up 2 cones and he came to ours and he started using them to play. Like he started blowing through them.
Are you
I watched
serious?
him. Yeah,
What
he
the
was
fuck?
doing no harm. So like I sat there and watched him. I was like, all right, I'm gonna see where this is gonna go. And he ended up on ours, and he just started playing them like this. And I'm like, that's one thing. And then when a car would come by, he would clean their windows.
And she like comes through and then passes. And I was like, okay, anything, I gotta avoid her, and then starts walking down the street. And then she has a moment of realization halfway down the other side of the street, up, comes right back around. All I hear is, can I get your paper towels? It's like, what? And then she starts walking closer. Can I get your paper towels? I'm the key grip of the set,
She's
right?
not gonna know
Yeah.
what that means.
So I'm like, I'm the key grip. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
whatever happens at the scrafted table.
It's
that's-
not your fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm preoccupied about safety.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she takes the paper towel. Oh, and again, I'm not gonna fight someone. I'm not like when
Right.
I can say no, but what?
Oh, she actually walked onto the set.
She walks onto the set for it's not like we had all the people locking it down and the traffic cones that would make it official. But
Because they got stolen.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course, right?
Thank you.
Someone's playing instruments with it.
Yeah, it's, somewhere there's just
Yeah.
homeless guys like, having the time of their lives.
You can hear it from across
Playing
the street.
careless whispers.
Honestly, I feel like joining them now. Like,
Is there anything going to get from this? It's how to make a band out of homeless people. In
Oh, God. And we also have an email address, guys, at podcastsetstories@gmail.com. You can email us. If you want to be a guest on the show, email us there. Email us your schedule. And if you're too scared to be on the show or live too far away from LA, you can also send us your story and we'll do a dramatic reading of it. How cool would that sound? That is amazing. So I need you guys to get up your acting chops. But also email us with what kind of stories you want to hear. We want to hear from you guys. Yeah.
Sweet.
And with that, I say adieu. Or au revoir. That's French for
Chupacabra.
Bye, guys.
Zippy,
I love
zippy,
you guys.
doo-doo.
Bye.